In my opinion, the most crazy quarterback battle going on in college football right now is not really even being talked about. That quarterback battle I'm referring to is going on at UCLA. Chip Kelly has a tall task in replacing one of the best quarterbacks in school history, as Dorian Thompson-Robinson put up huge numbers over the last 5 years for the Bruins and is now starting to do well with the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. He made a ton of highlight plays and elevated the program over the last 2 years, and now UCLA is looking to keep that momentum going. Replacing a quarterback like DTR is not easy, but luckily they have 4 different options. They have a former big-time blue-chip quarterback recruit who's one of the best high school quarterbacks in California history, an experienced transfer from a smaller school, a dynamic freshman from just down the road in Inglewood, and an 18-year-old who's a potential superstar from across the country in Detroit. In today's video, I want to go through and talk about the UCLA quarterback battle. We're going to talk about their 4 different options, talk about how each guy brings something different to the table, and who at the end of the day I think should be the starter for the Bruins. But before we get started, quickly be sure to leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new and love college football content, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I could cover in my next one. Now let's get started and talk about UCLA's insane quarterback problem. On September 2nd, UCLA will open up against Coastal Carolina, and for the first time in a long time, they will be without their starting quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. As he has now moved on to the NFL, Chip Kelly's got to find the best of his 4 options. So, who is the first guy we're to talk about here? Well, it's the guy who is seemingly the odd man out, and that is Justyn Martin. From Inglewood, California, Martin was one of the top high school quarterbacks in the class of 2022. At 6'4", he spent last year learning behind DTR and getting familiar with the playbook, and he was no slouch in high school. In 2021, he passed for 2,100 yards and 41 touchdowns. He said he looked up to Josh Allen when he was a kid, and at 6'4", with great stats and great athleticism, honestly, Martin should be talked about more than he is. Right now, he's widely considered the 4th best option on the team, and while I would still probably place him there, he has a lot of potential down the road, and when he probably inevitably transfers, he's going to make an impact. For now though, I think Martin is an emergency option and still probably needs another year of development before he will seriously be able to contend for the job. This now leaves us with the other 3 options who are most likely to start this fall. The first one I want to talk about is Colin Schlie. In a 2023 transfer portal that is loaded with quarterback talent, Schlie was ranked as the 9th best transfer QB. Going back a few years though, while growing up in the high school ranks of Maryland, he passed for 2,000 yards and ran for 750 yards as a senior, which would combine for 40 total touchdowns. He got offers in both football and basketball, as Bucknell and Mount St. Mary's wanted him to play on the hardwood. He eventually decided to go over to Kent State, and after not seeing action in 2019, would play a little bit in 2020, and was a backup in 2021. 2 games into the 2022 season, he ended up being named the starter for them, and had a top 10 single season in their school's history. He passed for over 2,000 yards with 13 touchdowns, and then also ran for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. This was pretty impressive for him being at Kent State, and with him wanting to play in the NFL and bring his game to the next level, he decided to enter the transfer portal. He was quickly seen as one of the top quarterbacks and committed to Chip Kelly and UCLA. For most guys, being a top 10 transfer would probably mean you'd start at your next school, but Schlie is going to have to fight for it. One thing he does have though is experience. He's extremely athletic and already has a lot of familiar with the RPO style offense, so hopefully he should be able to translate right away. He said things will be a little bit more complicated at UCLA, but right now, I'd put my money on Schlie being the backup. I think he's the 2nd best quarterback in this group, but if you want to go based on pure experience, he should be the starter come week 1. The 3rd guy we're to talk about is Dante Moore. He has pretty much unlimited potential, as he's one of the top high school quarterback prospects we've seen in the last decade or so. Coming out of Martin Luther King High School, Dante Moore was a 5-star recruit and was the number 3 overall prospect. He's up there in terms of the best quarterback in Michigan high school football history, and in total there, he threw for 9,880 yards with 135 touchdowns. He set multiple school records, and he said he looked up to Tom Brady growing up. At nearly 6'4" and over 200 pounds, Moore has the ideal size and frame to be a big-time quarterback, and after originally committing to Oregon, he decided to flip to Chip Kelly and UCLA. He arrives in Southern California with an insane amount of hype and an unbelievable amount of confidence. He's flashed greatness over his last 2 years and has wowed coaches from all over the country. While I think Moore has an endless ceiling, the Bruins are in no rush to get him out there. The last thing they want to do is destroy his confidence, and in my opinion, Moore will most likely redshirt, play in 4 games, and only get in if there's major injuries or the season goes completely south and they want to develop him. Now granted, I could be completely wrong and he's the week 1 starter, but logically, it makes sense for Moore to redshirt, get even better, and then probably be the starter week 1 of 2024. That leaves us with the last guy on the list, who in my opinion will be the starting quarterback come week 1. He has 2 years of experience learning behind DTR, has a tremendous track record with the staff, has a lot of potential, and honestly just makes the most sense for being the guy. That dude is Ethan Garbers. You probably recognize that last name, as his older brother Chase was a star quarterback for Cal for a couple of years. Going back in time, Garbers was a huge deal. I think people honestly gloss over the fact at how good this guy was in high school. He was rated as the number 5 pro-style quarterback and a top 100 player in the country. Why was he rated so high? Well, during his senior year, he passed for 5,034 yards, 71 touchdowns, and also had 12 rushing scores. The guy had over 80 touchdowns and nearly 6,000 total yards of offense. His 71 passing touchdowns were the second best in state history, behind only Jake Browning. Following in Browning's footsteps, Garbers originally actually went to Washington, but did not see any action in 2020. Because of that, he decided to transfer and ended up becoming the backup to DTR in 2021. He'd appear in all 12 games and actually made one start against Utah, in which he threw for 265 yards and 2 touchdowns. I remember he came in late against Oregon and threw an interception. But Garbers has been getting better and better, is the most familiar with the offense, has a lot of potential, is now in his 4th year of college, and in my opinion, should be the guy. I think he honestly has NFL potential, and at 6'3" and over 200 pounds, he has great size, a great arm, and I think just needs an opportunity. He's the guy I'm honestly going to roll with if I'm Chip Kelly, as I think it'll go like this. Garbers will start the season, and if he doesn't get hurt or does well, he starts the entirety of the year. If he begins to struggle or an injury happens, I think Collin Schlee will come in, and if Schlee struggles or the season has gone completely south, then I think Dante Moore gets thrown in. I don't really see a world in which Justyn Martin gets on the field, which is why I ultimately think he'll end up transferring and will probably ball out at a different school. It is truly crazy. Dante Moore could be the first true freshman to start since Josh Rosen. Ethan Garbers has been the backup for the last 2 years and could deliver on all that high school promise. Colin Schlie is the best dual threat, and Justyn Martin is even more athletic than DTR. Dante Moore recently came out and said this, quote, "If we take the competition too seriously and take it to the point where we're not talking to each other, it's not going to be great. You know, as a team, you don't want to worry about your personal goal. You just want to be a great team and win football games. That is the main goal at the end of the day." Honestly, I like all 4 guys in this quarterback room, and it's going to be one of the most interesting quarterback situations to watch throughout the season. It could be very simple, or it could be very complicated. But what do you guys think? If you're a UCLA fan, who do you think wins the job, and who do you want to win the job? How do you think UCLA will do this year, and what quarterback or quarterback battle should I take a look at in my next video? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.